Hi friends! Are you ready to see a new recipe for an amazingly delicious apple pie? Today, I'm going to share with you my secret recipe for apple pie that always saves me when I want homemade baking. My name is Marta, and I'm happy to see you on my cooking channel. Let's start with preparing the dough. The dough is quite simple to make. We need butter, which we cut into small cubes. The butter must be cold, straight from the fridge. This is very important to get a crumbly and tender dough. Cold butter helps create the right texture, allowing the dough to become flaky and soft after baking. It doesn't melt instantly but holds its shape slightly, giving the pie that homemade softness and crispy crust. Next, take 1 egg, crack it into a bowl, and add sugar. As a tradition, I don't add much sugar because I'm not a fan of overly sweet baking. I love homemade baking because it lets you control the sweetness and the quality of the ingredients. Mix the sugar with the egg and add a bit of milk. In the recipe description, you'll find a full list of ingredients with exact quantities to make it easier to follow. Now, add the flour along with a pinch of salt and baking powder. Then add the cold, chopped butter. Using your fingers, gently rub the butter into the flour until you get a light, crumbly mixture. It's important not to do this for too long so the butter doesn't warm up and melt. Once the crumb forms, pour in the egg mixture with sugar and quickly knead the dough. There's no need to knead it for long. The goal is to bring the dough together into a smooth ball. This method helps keep the dough light and crumbly for perfect baking. While I'm kneading the dough, I'd like to ask you to write in the comments which city you're from. I'm always curious to learn more about my viewers. I also truly appreciate your likes and comments on this video. Your support means a lot to me. Tell me a little about yourself. Do you love homemade baking as much as I do? What kind of recipes do you prefer? Do you like pies more, or maybe cookies or buns? It would be great to consider your opinions when planning future recipe videos for the channel. Once the dough has come together into a smooth ball, we wrap it in plastic wrap or a plastic bag and place it in the refrigerator for 20 minutes. This resting time is important because it makes the dough more elastic and easier to roll out, and also allows the butter inside to firm up again, giving the pie a crisp texture. While the dough is resting, we'll start preparing the filling. First, we chop the walnuts. Walnuts play an important role in this pie. They add a pleasant crunch, a rich nutty aroma, and a touch of piquancy. Additionally, walnuts make the flavor more complex and interesting, and they bring useful nutrients to the dessert. We melt butter in a pan. I really love using butter in baking because, in my opinion, it adds a special flavor, tenderness, and creaminess. It's exactly this that gives homemade baking that cozy, warm, and heartfelt vibe, the feeling we all look for in truly homemade treats. Next, I toast the walnuts in a dry pan for about 20 seconds. This is a simple but very important step. Toasting helps bring out the walnut's flavor and aroma, making them richer and crunchier. The light roasting gives the nuts a lovely golden color and delicate nutty notes that will perfectly complement our pie filling. We add sugar to the nuts. I prefer to use cane sugar because I love its caramel flavor and beautiful rich color. When the cane sugar mixes with the butter in the pan, it creates a gentle caramel that coats the nuts like a glaze. This caramel gives the nuts an appetizing shine and a pleasant sweetness, making the filling even more delicious and aromatic. Of course, the central element of today's recipe is apples. For this recipe, I use 7 small apples like these. I like a contrast of sweet and tart flavors in baking, so I prefer apples that are slightly tart and firm. Such apples hold their shape well during baking and don't turn to mush, which is important for the pie's texture. If your apples are sweet, I recommend adding the juice of half a lemon to them. This will add some tartness that contrasts nicely with the sweet dough and creates a more complex and interesting flavor. We peel the apples and slice them into thin pieces. This step requires care and attention because the thin, even slices give our pie the right texture and beautiful appearance. I try not to slice the apples too thick so they bake well while still retaining some lightness. Then, I place the apples on the pan together with the toasted walnuts and lightly sauté them. This step helps to bring out their aromas and blend the flavors, making the filling incredibly rich and warm. I truly love homemade baking because it creates an atmosphere of coziness and warmth in the home. When you make a pie like this, putting your love and care into it, you can really feel that in the outcome. I would be very happy if you try this recipe and share this pie with your loved ones, creating a little celebration of flavors and heart. Homemade baking connects us to traditions, to the feeling of home and family warmth. For the filling, I decided to add dried cranberries. They give a pleasant tartness and an interesting flavor accent. You can also add raisins or dried cherries if you like them. These dried fruits make the filling richer and more unusual. It's very important that the filling cools down before placing it on the dough. This helps the butter in the dough to stay solid longer, so the pie keeps its shape well during baking. While the apple filling cools, we take the dough out of the refrigerator. It's smooth and elastic, just what we need for this pie. We roll it out with a wooden rolling pin directly on parchment paper, so it's easier to transfer the pie to the baking sheet afterward. We roll the dough into a thin circle about 12 inches in diameter, which is a perfect size for a homemade galette. Now, we place the filling in the center of the circle, leaving the edges free because we will fold them over. We spread the filling evenly and carefully so that the pie will be both delicious and beautiful. Then we gently fold the edges of the dough over the filling, slightly overlapping and pressing the edges together, creating a simple, cozy homemade galette. There's no need for a perfect shape because these small imperfections show that the pie is handmade with love. That is the true value of homemade baking. To achieve a beautiful golden color and an appetizing crust on our pie, we brush it with an egg wash. To do this, separate the egg white from the yolk by cracking one egg into a bowl and carefully removing the yolk by hand. Transfer the yolk to a separate bowl, add a little milk, and whisk it with a silicone brush. This mixture gives the pie a lovely shine and rich color. Additionally, it helps the sugar sprinkled on the edges stick better, creating a crispy and aromatic crust. Then, gently brush the edges of the pie for about 10 seconds. After that, sprinkle sugar on the edges to get a sweet, slightly caramelized crust. Now the pie is ready to bake. Place it in a preheated oven for about 30 minutes.